Okay. So now let us directly understand what is the kinematic indeterminacy and how do we try to calculate it, and what are various parameters that we need to remember while calculating the degree of kinematic indeterminacy. So this topic is almost close to static indeterminacy. So in static indeterminacy, we have studied the concept of whether we can solve the beam with equations of equilibrium or not. Now, in kinematic indeterminacy, we will study that whether the problem that we are going to solve, can we solve it using the equation of compatibility. That's a new term. Equation of equilibrium for reactions, equation of compatibility for deflections and rotations. Okay. Now, let us try to understand the concept and the subject behind this. Okay. Now, so kinematic indeterminacy represents the unknown number of joints or unknown number of joint displacements in a structure or rotations in a structure. Number of unknown number of joint displacements or rotations in a structure. So how many unknowns are there? So static indeterminacy means, so see, I'm writing here for your understanding. So static indeterminacy represents the unknown number of reactions. Unknown number of reactions. That is for static. Okay. Now, what are the basics that are required? So basics that are required are, we need to understand what is the degrees of freedom or degree of freedom, what are the deflection shapes for each support, and what is kinematic indeterminacy. Okay. So as I already said before, kinematic indeterminacy is also termed as degrees of freedom. So both are same. Okay. Now let us try to define the degrees of freedom. It is the number of independent coordinates required to define the displaced shape of the structure. Number of independent coordinates required to define the deflected shape of the structure. So means, let us say for example, I have a beam with load here and it is deflecting like this. Okay. So how many coordinates are required? See here, how many? So this is one coordinate, this is one coordinate, this is one coordinate. But we have coordinate system as x, y, and z. So in x direction we have deflection, in y direction we have deflection, in z direction we have rotation. So for this load that is applied, how many coordinates are required to define this displaced shape? So that is what it will define the degree of kinematic indeterminacy. So while solving problem, I will give it with a proper example. Okay. Now, or it can also be defined as sum of all the independent displacements or rotations of all the joints in a structure. So let us take, for example, I have a member like this. So like this is one joint, this is one joint, one, and another one. So total I have 5 joints here, and sum of all the displacements or rotations of all the joints. So see here, this is a simple support. If it is a pinned, in how many directions it will deflect or move? In one direction. And if it is, this also is a roller, this is a roller. How many directions? Two. Here two. Here also two. Here also two. If you, all these things are rollers. So sum of all independent displacement. So here 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So what does that mean? A fixed support will displace 0 times, pinned support 1 time, roller support 2 movements. So when you say 2, one is horizontal and one is vertical. Okay, one is horizontal, another one is vertical. But here comes the challenging part. If it is extensible, all of you listen carefully. If it is extensible, then you take horizontal. If it is inextensible, then don't take horizontal. I will show that to you. Now you can see, for any given beam, every joint at the end will undergo vertical, horizontal, and rotation. In beam and plane frame, each joint will have 3 degrees of freedom: delta x, delta y, deflection, and rotation theta. But in a space frame, so this is a space, that is 3D. So this is 3D, this is 2D. So in a space frame, each joint will have 6 degrees of freedom. But right now we are only bothered about 2D. Okay. Now all of you carefully see, I have already explained this, but I am repeating it again. So we have 3 different types of supports. So roller support, pinned support, and free support. First take the free end. All of you see here, I am holding a, you all can hold pen in your hands. You all can hold pen in your hands, one end tightly, and other end you see the other end, that is the free end of a cantilever, can deflect, isn't it? Can deflect vertically, can move horizontally little bit, and can rotate also. And can rotate also. Therefore, a free end will have 3 degrees of freedom. A free end will have 3 degrees of freedom, and a roller support will have 2 degrees of freedom. Roller support 2 degrees of freedom, and a pinned support will have 1 degree of freedom. That is only rotation. This is only rotation. I have already explained this concept. And here rotation, rotation, and horizontal deflection, horizontal deflection. Okay. Now degree of freedom 3, 2, 1. Now we have a fixed support. In fixed support, nothing will be there, 0. And in vertical shear hinge, here also you can see that, see, fixed support 0, vertical shear hinge. So this is a shear link or a kind of a hinge provided in the support. It will deflect only vertical direction. So because it is restricted, it will act like a kind of support with theta is equal to 0. With theta is equal to 0. This is a very clear understanding you need to. There won't be any rotation, correct, right? It can deflect downward. See the roller? You can see the roller will deflect downward. And here, this roller will deflect horizontally. So there is only horizontal shear hinge, degrees of freedom is 1. Next, a guided roller or a damping support. A guided roller or a damping support. You can see this is also kind of a roller and a combination of fixed. This is called guided roller. So it will move horizontally. So horizontal degrees of freedom. Then we have a spring support. See here, this is the spring here, and this is the roller. So I'm writing it here. For extensible roller will have 2 degrees of freedom, and for inextensible 1 degrees of freedom. That difference you should understand. So here they have, so this beam is actually inextensible. If nothing is given, then you should consider it to be inextensible. So for inextensible, see what happened. So spring will move up and down, and roller will have the kind of rotation here. Roller will have the rotation. Okay. So degrees of freedom 2. Then we have a rigid joint. So rigid joint is at, for a frame will have all 3 degrees of freedom. So here also for extensible 3 degrees of freedom, and for inextensible, how many will be there? How many will be there for inextensible? We don't have delta x. We have only delta y, comma theta. So here delta x, delta y, theta. So here delta x, delta y, here delta y and theta. That is only 2 degrees of freedom for inextensible. So that is also one more very important point that you need to understand and get clarity of how the things are working. Okay. Okay. Now let us try to move forward. Now the other important thing that I am talking about is the type of the elastic curve. So where exactly is the deflection is happening in a beam. So where exactly the deflection is happening in a beam, and how does that deflection shape would look like? So these are also some of the things that has to be considered for the analysis. Okay. Now, so if you talk about, two important terminologies in strength of materials, one is the point of contraflexure and another one is the point of inflection. The point of inflection can be seen here very clearly, that there is a change in the slope or the elastic curve of a bending moment diagram or the deflected shape. So to understand it clearly, so let me try to extend this. So for complex loading, it is better to draw bending moment diagram first and then draw the deflected shape. So let us see how a deflected shape would look like. So you can see this is a multi-storied building, high-rise building with horizontal loads. So because there are horizontal loads, what will happen? It will make the structure move horizontally. See, I'm applying a load here, and then what will happen? It will try to deflect. In what way? See here, this is the deflected shape. So this is the delta part. So this is called as deflected shape. Same is the case with us also. When we try to push an object, it will try to move. So that is how we need to consider the kind of analysis that is very important for us. Then you can see now how a deflected shape would look like. So you have this is a propped cantilever. So this is called propped cantilever because one end is fixed and one end is roller. So you can see here a fixed support will not have any deflection. That's why the dotted line will start at a distance. But a roller will have some rotation. So whenever you have a fixed support, I will show it to you. See here, if both ends are fixed, we need to do it like this. So at this point, it should be 0. So this is the deflected shape. So no deflection, only rotation, and here no deflection and no rotation. This is for inextensible case. So even though there is horizontal deflection, we are trying to neglect it. Now we will rush through fast. You can see here, here we have clockwise rotation, downward deflection, and no rotation and no deflection. You can see that here. Okay. And similarly for this also, you can see the deflected shapes. And then you have a continuous beam. This is a very good example. All the supports will rotate, but no support will deflect. These are all for inextensible cases. Inextensible cases. So that means axial is ignored. Axial, that is delta x, is equal to neglected. Delta x neglected. That is what we are trying to do in all these cases. So similarly, this also for fixed support, you can see that this is 0 here. And finally, you have a fixed support which doesn't have any kind of thing, of course. So how to sketch the bending moment diagram? I will not say much about it. But now let us try to understand that for an axially extensible member, kinematic indeterminacy is equal to degrees of freedom at a joint multiplied by number of joints minus number of reactions. So like static indeterminacy, we have a formula for kinematic indeterminacy. So dk is equal to 3j minus r for beams and plane frames. So 3 means degrees of freedom at a joint. Number of joints is j and number of reactions are r. Very simple to solve the problem. For space frame, so each support or each joint will have 6 degrees of freedom. So 6j minus r. Now let us try to again introduce internal hinge for a beam and see how it will have the degrees of freedom varying from one part to the other. So this is something that is an interesting topic. So let us say this has axially extensible member. So extensible means axial force will be there. So because there is an axial movement, what will happen? An internal hinge will try to divide the beam into two parts. So this is part 1 and this is part 2. So for this part you have theta 1, and for this part, or for example theta 2, and this part will have theta 1. So I will write it here. You can see that I will write it. So presence of internal hinge, presence of internal hinge will develop two rotations, You can see that here. This is one rotation and this is another rotation for this part and this part. And it will deflect vertically because of the presence of the internal hinge. Even though the support is fixed, because of this internal hinge, there is a tendency that it will deflect downward, and because it is axially extensible, it will deform horizontally. So therefore it has two rotations and two translations. At left support, one rotation. So at right support, 0. So total 5 for the entire beam. See here, this is roller, so this is pinned. So pinned will have one rotation, and for that one rotation we have 1 in the left support, and right support is actually fixed, and for fixed support it is 0, and at internal hinge we have 4. So 4 plus 1, that is total 5. But if it is inextensible, now let us take the case of inextensible scenario. So under inextensible case, what will happen? Only 3. So here delta x is equal to 0. So number of total will be 4. All of you can see that it is 4 here. Next, so for a rigid joint, you can see that for a rigid joint, so this is a rigid, I have already explained about rigid joint as well as pinned joint. A rigid joint will make the structure stable. So therefore, there will be only one rotation. You can see this is like a spider web. If this is a rigid joint, it will make all the joints as stable. So because it is stable, it will rotate only in one direction. But if it is a pinned joint, it can move this way, in any number of ways it can rotate. So therefore, this is one of the very important concepts that you need to understand, that a rigid joint will rotate only in one direction, but if it is a pinned or a hinge joint, then it will have infinite rotations. Now, so axial inextensible part, so with hinge and without hinge, we have already seen it. So now let us try to see the examples of the beam with respect to various degrees of kinematic indeterminacy. Okay, various degrees of kinematic indeterminacy. So you can see that here. All of you can see the screen now. So before that, I will give one more clarity with a table for you to remember and practice later. First, I will show that to all of you and then I will explain. So now you see here, I am trying to explain the understanding of how each and every support will behave. So fixed support, pinned support, roller support, and internal hinge and internal hinge. So let me try to sketch it. So this is an important table for all of you. You can practice it also. Okay. Now let us try to take this part, extensible, extensible, inextensible. Okay. So this is fixed, hinged or pinned. This is roller. This is the example of internal hinge. Now, degrees of freedom for degrees of freedom for degree of freedom for extensible and inextensible. See, in extensible, 0, 0. Here, for pinned, we have only 1, 1. So this is rotation. Rotation as well as, again here also, rotation. Roller for extensible, 2. One is rotation, and horizontal deflection. Horizontal deflection. So total 2. Inextensible, we have only 1, that is rotation. Internal hinge, 4, that is delta x, delta y, theta 1, theta 2. Inextensible, 3, that is delta y, theta 1, theta 2. Okay. Now, another thing apart from these supports is actually a rigid support. So, a rigid support is a kind of fixed support, is a kind of fixed support, but it has the tendency to deflect delta x, delta y, and rotate theta, and rotate, that is theta. So, example, if you take a frame, sorry, if you take a frame, okay, and then this is called rigid joint. Or if you take a beam, let me put it this way now for simplicity. This is fixed, and even here also this is fixed. This is fixed. This is a rigid joint. It can rotate, and this is also a rigid joint, and this is a roller joint. That means note, any support at the center of a continuous beam, any support at the center of a continuous beam is a rigid support, is a rigid support. So that is how we need to understand. So with the help of this table, we are going to solve the problems now. In the next 10 minutes, we will solve the problems, and then we will move on to the next topic. Okay. Now all of you can see the screen now. So this is actually a roller support and a fixed support. Okay. What is the degree of kinematic indeterminacy? We need to calculate. dk is equal to 3j minus r. Directly you can calculate. dk is equal to 3j minus r. See here, dk is equal to 3j minus r. How many joints are there? This is j joint 1, this is joint 2. And reactions, this is r is equal to 1 here, r is equal to 3 here. So 3 into 2, okay, yeah, minus 4. So total it will be like 2, but because it is inextensible, we are neglecting the horizontal part. So that is therefore it is equal to 1. It can deflect in one way. And then you can see that this is also one more part. For inextensible, we have 2 here. Free end will have 3 now. But for inextensible, we have 2 here, 1 here. So dk is equal to 3. Then this is another example. So here we will have 2 degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom, 2 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 2 here. Total it will be 6. It will be 6. And one more thing, if you wanted to see here, this 3j minus r, we will be using it for extensible members or inextensible, well, depending upon our requirement. But you should understand that only for axially extensible members, we will use 3j minus r. But otherwise, depending upon the table that I have given, you need to choose these examples. Okay. Okay, fine. Next. How much is for this? So this is pinned 1, 1, 1, and 1. Because here this is inextensible. You need to all remember that we are doing it for inextensible part. Inextensible means delta x is equal to 0. So total is equal to 4. That is a deflected state. And then here 1, 1, 1. So 3. So dk is equal to 3. Next, what is this here? Here 1, 1. So dk is equal to 2. dk is equal to 2. Here this is, and one more thing I'm forgetting to write, this is 0 always. At fixed end it is 0. Here 0. Here also 0. So dk is equal to 0. So that is how we have to try to practice the problem and get the things done. Now you see, let us try to take the examples of extensible and inextensible. All of you can carefully see here. Here we have 0 and at free end we have 3. So kinematic indeterminacy will be is equal to 0 plus 3, that is equal to 3. So if we ignore axial deformation, that means for inextensible, here this will be deducted by 1, so that is 2. Or you can do it like how much? 3j minus r. So here you have 3 reactions. R is equal to 3 here. You can see here 3j minus r. You can do both the ways. And next example, you have pinned. So for pinned, r is equal to 2, and for roller, r is equal to 1. Otherwise, the degree of freedom for pinned is equal to 1, and for roller is equal to 2. So total it will be 3. So for inextensible, it will be 1 here. So total 2. Or you can simply say 3j minus r, 2 joints and 3 reactions. So like that, for fixed roller, pinned roller, you can see how many we are getting. and you have roller, pinned, and fixed. 2, 1, 0. Total 3. So either you can write it in terms of degrees of freedom, or you can solve it based on 3j minus r. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can try to solve it. And one additional important thing is there. You can, depending upon the degrees of freedom, we have to decide whether a support is safe to be used or not. Let us say, for example, you're taking bridges. For bridges, as I have spoken in the last classes, what happens? Because of the temperature variations, environmental condition variations, what will happen? The load is the traffic. All the vehicles will go. Apart from that, the traffic and environmental condition and temperature changes, it will pass on to the support. So the support should have what it should have? It should have a roller or a pinned. It should have a roller or a pin. So that's how we need to consider that. Now let us move on to the further problems associated with the uh, in, internal hinge. So see here, for free end we have 3, 2, 1, total 6. But all of you please listen carefully. This is important point. So neglecting the axial part. So here we have 1 removed. Here also we are trying to remove the axial part here. So because we are trying to remove the axial part, we are trying to get this. Next, here hinge we have 1, internal hinge 4, and here also 2. Okay. See, actually, here one axial delta x is equal to 0, and here also delta x is equal to 0. Okay, I have already shown that to you in the table that I have shown before. The table is very important for all of you. So ignoring axial deformation, delta x is equal to 0 here. Actually, this is 2 here, not 3. This is 2. This is 4. This is also 2, and this is 4. Okay. Now you can see that here 1, 4. Here if you put delta x is equal to 0, this becomes 3. Here delta x is equal to 0, it becomes 1. So 3 plus 1 plus 1. So 5. Extensible, inextensible. And then here 1, 4, 2, 2. So see here delta x is equal to 0. This will become 3. Here also delta x is equal to 0. This will become 1. Here also delta x is equal to 0. This becomes 1. So 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, total 6. And same is the case here also. So 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 0. That means, so total you will get around 14. But here delta x is equal to 0, delta x is equal to 0, delta x is equal to 0, and delta x is equal to 0. Okay. So by removing the corresponding delta parts at the free end, we have vertical deflection, rotation, horizontal. So 4 has to be removed. So accordingly, the degree of indeterminacy is obtained. Now, the last part for today's class is for the frames. So for frames, you can see that 3j minus r straightforward. So 3j minus r, simply straightforward point. So let us try to take the 3j minus r. How many joints are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here reactions are r is equal to 3, r is equal to 3. So 6 reactions and 4 joints. So 3j minus r will be 6. So ignoring axial deformation, we will get 3. So always in a frame, if we neglect axial deformation, it is inextensible. Of course, in beams also same, but the concept wise. And now here 4 joints. So r is equal to 2, r is equal to 1. So total how much? So 3 reactions, 4 joints. So total 9. Neglecting axial deformation, you will get 6. So like that, here we have 2, here we have 2 reactions, and joints are 4. So here also how many joints? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints, and reactions are 3, 12. So 12 minus 3 for the frame, and here also one more horizontal is removed, the total 8. So like that, here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 joints and 3 reactions. So neglecting axial, we will get 8. So here also 7 joints, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And reactions 3, 5, 8, 9, 8, 10, 11. So reactions are 11. 3J minus R. So 3J minus R. Okay. So this is how we try to solve the problem for